Hey guys, Tyler from Samson and Ian here from Highlander Arms, and we're hanging out in the tech room today. We're going to go over an old video that we had. We did an install video of the Adams Arms piston system and the evolution rail with the EX cut, and it's an older video now, so we wanted to update it again and go over that procedure with you guys. Alright guys, so let's go over the tools you're going to need for the install. We've got a 3/4 inch wrench here. You can use an adjustable, or if you have an AR-15 armorer's tool, you can use that. You're going to need it to get your muzzle device off. We have a 5/32 Allen wrench, we have a 9/64 Allen wrench, and then we have the smaller Allen wrench that should come with your evolution rail for adjusting the vertical set screw underneath. What we did here is we took the liberty of stripping the rifle down, removing what would be the plastic handguards if you guys received this upper or this rifle from Adams Arms, and we also removed the delta ring and spring so we could strip it down to the mil-spec barrel nut. Okay, so we took the liberty of going ahead and removing the muzzle device, and the first thing we're going to do now that we got this piston system disassembled is we're going to go ahead and take the op rod out of the piston system. So you just push on the button here, we're going to rotate a quarter turn, and then this whole op rod assembly is going to come out of the front of the piston block here. Guys, there's 3 different Adams Arms piston systems out there now. We've got the standard one, which is this with the Picatinny rail on top. We have the light system, which is not a low profile system. It just has the Picatinny rail shaved off. Our rail will not fit over it. You still need an EX rail for that. And then there's the new XLP system, the extremely low profile system. That you can get a standard EVO to float over. But there's going to be a variety of systems out there. Yours might be a pin-on. This is a clamp-on with 2 screws. And then there's also some models that have some set screws underneath the block. Either way, we have relief cuts in the rails that are made for them, but you just do whatever you need to do, either tap the pins out or unscrew it with this 5/32 wrench to get the piston block loosened up on the barrel. So we're going to undo these screws, and then the piston block should just slide forward off the barrel. Now we're prepped and ready for the handguard installation.
Okay, so the first thing when installing the Adams kit with the EVO rail, just like any other EVO rail, thermal bushings go on first onto the mil-spec barrel nut, and always, as always, make sure the full hole goes to the top position, whereas the half hole goes to the bottom, because that's where you get your clamping power from. So simply put it on and snap it into place. Get the other side, same deal, full hole to the top. It's pretty self-explanatory. Snap it into place. Sometimes they snap, sometimes they just seat. And then just carefully align your EVO and slip it into place. So the next step for this all is to make sure, with the piston system, make sure that the EVO is left loose. Just slip it on and let it float around and do its thing, because we're not ready to tighten it up yet. First we have to align the rest of it. So I'll simply slip on the Adams Arms piston gas block, and keep in mind there used to be a handguard cup here, so the length of the piston is designed with that in mind. So push it forward and then cheat it back to get it to the thickness that it should be, the space that it should be. It should be about the width of a credit card, or just try. Or if you want to, you can also use the cup again, or cut the cup and use that as a spacer to get everything proper to the way that it should be. From that point, you can kind of use the rail setup on the top of the EVO to make sure that the gas block is in the top dead center orientation. You don't really know till you test fire. It's always a good thing when ripping apart a gas block of any sort and replacing it of any sort that you test fire to make sure everything's running. So now everything's sort of mocked into place. The next step is to tighten the gas block up. And try and keep it in place in that top dead center orientation while you do it, and that's kind of the trick of it all. So now when doing this, I'll run one in further than the other to kind of stiffen the whole thing up before I cinch it all down. That way it's not flopping around in the breeze with every little touch that I make. Tighten it up, just tighten up one just a little bit, give it a second look, make sure everything's cool and aligned as properly as it should. Tighten up the second nut to something slightly more than hand tight. Give it a second look, make sure it hasn't moved on you. So everything looks pretty cool now, but once again, gas block off, gas block on, always test afterwards to make sure. So everything looks good to me from here. So I'm just going to cinch everything down so that it's tight and solid and positive. At this point, we install the op rod. So simply slip it in. Make sure you're kind of aligned. Catch the hole up in the receiver. It goes in at the 9 o'clock position. Push it in. Push the D10 in, and index it to the 12 o'clock position. And you hear that lock into place. At this point, we tighten up the EVO rail just like any other EVO rail. I'll do the same thing that I did while installing this. I'm going to take the I'm going to tighten the front nut, the front screw on this. I'm going to give it a little downward pressure, and I'm going to run the front screw in to something just slightly more than hand tight, so that I know it's not flapping in the breeze with every movement that I make. So then I like to slip it off so that I can hold on to the piece, and I can see what's going on with the lockup. Front setup, or the front lock is, the front screw is driven in. I'll drive on the second screw, and again, I'm not driving it home to where it's supposed to be. I'm just making sure it's kind of tightened up. I'll make sure everything's still aligned. I give it with my hand as I'm cradling it up here. I'm giving the EVO slight downward pressure towards me, towards the barrel, and then I'll go back to the front nut, the front screw, and completely tighten it up. On the back one, just make sure everything is tight and parallel. And this gap right there should be parallel together. There should be no V of any sort. It should be parallel. And when it's completely tight and everything's mated together and parallel, you know everything's good. And then you just take the set screw and drive it in, and then cinch it, and you're good to go.
All right, guys, so that's the install procedure for the Adams Arms piston system. Remember, like we mentioned, there's a few different versions of this piston system out on the market. So if you have any questions about your particular system, being the Lite or the XLP, and how it differs from this, feel free to give us a call. We deal with a lot of these. The guys here at Highlander Arms deal with a lot of these, whether it's Samson product or installation. Either one of us is here to help you. I want to thank Highlander Arms for letting us be here today and use their Pro Shop. As you can see, we got this to come out nice and level. Ian did a good job putting that in. We're going to head outside and test fire this. In the meantime, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Find us on Facebook, all the social media sites. And Highlander Arms is actually going to be launching a new website soon, so look for www.highlanderarms.com.
HighlanderArms.com.
Thanks for watching, guys.